Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very warm welcome to another episode of the Developing Dad podcast. I'm not sure, Neil, if we should continue doing the numbers that we're doing in terms of episodes, but I think until we get to the year bit, we should probably keep celebrating it, because at the moment, every episode is a winner, I think, actually, just to get it done.
Yeah, especially we're recording this on a Monday evening, and I texted Gordon this morning saying I'm doing the episode. I'm going to Sky this weekend. Gordon's got a full week of recording videos for other people. So Monday night it is. Yeah,
exactly. So we are on episode number 43 of the Developing Dads podcast. It's weird how it's now a bit more difficult to get me on a podcast, because I think life is just a bit crazy, really. You know, it's like last week filming most days, the week previous to that filming most days. This week, I've only taken really today off. I've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and a Sunday shoot. So trying to because when I do a shoot day, Neil, I find it quite difficult because I don't want to tell you I'm going to do a podcast and then I bail because it's like I'm working late, or because ultimately if I'm out somewhere and say I finish at 5 o'clock, it then means it takes me an hour to get home. It's maybe 6, maybe it's 7 o'clock. Then I've got to get Olivia stuff, or I've got to have dinner with Laura and then connect, and then we've got to sit and do a podcast, and that's an hour. And then you know what it's like, right? You're just trying to have a dad life, a social life, a work life, and then a me life, and trying to do all those things at once is quite difficult when you're an adult, isn't it?
It is. Could we bake it into your commuting time, or is 4G, 5G not good enough?
I don't know. That would be super productive, though, wouldn't it? Be sat on the train doing a podcast. I did think about trying to do that, actually, but I think the problem is, the commute aspect, sat on a train, you're going through tunnels and stuff, which doesn't really work, I guess.
Yeah, we could try it.
That could be a podcast idea, couldn't it? The commuting podcast, because you could just basically talk about the observations of things that happen during your commute. Because I don't know about you, but do you, when you travel on your own, so you've come down to London to, I don't know, do your conference stuff or whatever it is you've talked about, do you find that that's some of the best thinking time is when you're sat on a plane, or you're sat on a train, or you're sat in an airport and you're just on your own, right?
Yeah,
what do you think
massively.
About
that? Yeah, just time to digest. And one of my kind of favorite things to do is, if I'm traveling for work, is maybe go to the airport a bit earlier, or arrive a bit earlier, so I've got time to get a couple of beers, some food, and just enjoy my own space and my own time. And it's just decompress. Feels good.
It does, but I just like sitting on the train thinking, weird and wonderful thoughts, and just kind of meandering into a bit like when you go for a run to some extent, but not quite as vigorous. But you just kind of sat thinking about it, and I think train time, bus time, plane time is some of the best times to think. So commuting is, for me, it's a bit like that. Either way, anyway, today's pod is actually going to be reminiscing about Neil's stag do. And for good reason, because it was a bloody great stag do organised by me.
Yours truly.
It was a stag do. It was the first stag do I'd ever organised. I think it was the first stag do you'd ever been on.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. You were about 16, so I'd be surprised if you'd been on a podcast, been on a stag do prior to that. But we thought we'd reminisce a little bit about it, go through, what it's like to organise one, to go on your brother's one, what we did for it, how we got on. If Neil actually enjoyed it, you might tell me he didn't enjoy it, but he probably can't remember it. He can only probably remember the nail varnish that I had applied to his hands. But either way, we always start the podcast. Yes, we did speak close to a week ago, but Neil, how's your week been? How was your weekend? How is life?
Life, I think last episode I was I think we were both a bit down. I don't know, is down the right word? Just contemplating things in a more deep manner. But yeah, I'm feeling good today. Weekend was very wholesome, so just full of kids and stuff like that. Saturday I had the kids all day. Rebecca was away working. She had the car, so it meant me entertaining the kids while it was pouring with rain in four walls. Which
how did you do it? No, come on, this could be a Developing Dads podcast in itself. But you give us a top line. Where do you start, and how do you maintain it?
Oh, tips from my dad. Just a plan. So I knew at the start in the morning, I knew that I had 3 kids to entertain for 8-9 hours. And yeah, you just got to make a plan. So my plan was that we'd go to Tesco in the morning, we'd get some fresh Play-Doh, which gets the kids really excited for some reason.
Fresh. Not the crap that's been all mangled up because they've played with it for about
exactly
3 years.
And that like is relatively cheap, like £3, you get like 5 or 6 new tubs. So went there and then played Play-Doh for like an hour or two, did some baking, made some truffles, which was really good. Had lunch, watched a movie, fell asleep with the boys, had a nap, which is quite nice, tactical nap. And then we decided to go to the grandparents for a coffee, which yeah, broke
That's
up
cheating.
sometime.
That's the cheat code in Grand Theft Auto, isn't it? That's the cheat code where you're like, I don't know what to do now. I've run out of all the ideas. Grandparents. let's burden the grandparents with the kids.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and then Sunday, I've got this kind of routine now. This is the 4th time we've done it, where I get up really early and go for a swim. And the kids want to come this time.
I'm sorry, but I didn't see any swimming on your Instagram. All I saw were you taking pictures of your kids watching the water, not you in it.
Well, Rebecca wasn't with me because I'm a husband that let her have a long lie. And I got the kids ready at 7 a.m, got down there, and yeah, I was definitely in the water for 10 minutes. I timed it. And yeah, just I had also like had porridge, had coffee with the stove, spent like 2 or 3 hours there with the kids, which was just awesome. And then park. And now on a Monday night, I had a leftover bottle of wine from Sunday, and Rebecca doesn't drink red wine. So I've got a nice 19 crimes to finish off.
Very good. That is a fat glass as well on a Monday night. That is
half a bottle.
Wow. Neil's having half a bottle of wine on a Monday night.
Yeah, like wine's good for 2 days. Like I opened it yesterday, can't go a third day. So.
Well, it's one of those sneaky things, right? Isn't it? It's the same with a beer, I guess, but beers definitely come in kind of come in smaller things. But yeah, you can't just open a bottle of wine and not finish it. It's like a bag of Maltesers or chocolate hobnobs or something like that. But certainly from a cost value perspective, you ain't just leaving that bottle open, are you? And nobody's got one of those fancy restaurant things that you extract all the air so it doesn't cause the wine to go off. Jobby, do they?
No, I didn't know that was a thing.
It is a thing, Neil. It's me bringing up my knowledge of the old wine trade.
Anyway, how's your weekend been?
My week's, we spoke on Monday. We talked about the redundancy stuff that's going on, and I guess like part of me has been fine most of the time, but then equally I'm kind of like, I guess stress levels a little bit high today, just because I've got a big week ahead of me of stuff. As you can see behind me, if you're watching on the YouTubes, I'm kind of like packing a new case that I bought that's going to make my life a little bit easier to move stuff around. And just trying to organize people, just trying to make sure that they're telling me what they need so that I don't turn up and just with my eyes closed guessing, to create some magical video that,
How was your Wales trip? You were going to Wales the next day.
Well, we're getting there, Neil. I was going through my professional woes first. So that was kind of my week. It was just a busy week, towards the end of it. Certainly the first few bits of it, and then this week ahead, I'm just kind of like, I'm looking forward to it, but it's quite daunting. And then, having conversations today with prospective clients or potentially new clients that I'm going to work with. So it's all just go, Neil. It's all go, which is good, but I'm kind of working on the here and now rather than the tomorrow stuff, right? I'm getting caught up in that. Getting paid today is better than getting paid tomorrow, which, you need that, but it's the thing, but ultimately it's much more important than me making YouTube videos, which is kind of annoying. But
when do you hire somebody? That's always the key question if you're a one-man band.
Yeah, when do you hire someone? Because it is a 0 to 100 real quick. I think it's not so much hiring in the case of employed status. I think it's a contractor thing first. So, if anyone is a video editor who's interested in some contract work, then I can put it out there. But then sometimes that doesn't work from a monetary perspective. Because you'll tell a client a certain price and then you'll get someone to edit it for you and they'll want, half of that, if not 3/4 of it to edit the thing. And you're like, well, economically it doesn't work. So, and then also I feel bad because it's kind of like, I know the cost of, the effort and time that you put into these things, but also the cost of equipment. Like this laptop I'm filming this thing on, I edit videos and stuff on it. It's £4,000. Like this case behind me to store stuff in is like 370 quid just for the case. and you've got all the depreciation and all that. Anyway, I'm going through it. But yeah, so I think I'm probably getting close to that, if I'm honest. I'm probably getting close to finding some sort of contractor. But then I think one of the problems that you'll face this at Shark Tower is just finding really, really good people that are reliable, right? That do the thing they said they would do and do it to a standard that's at least okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've been interviewing for the last 4 months.
Wow.
Can't find somebody.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah, we've got a budget, we've got lots of money to spend, but you can't find the right person. And then that's when this question, I'm like, is it me that's not confident enough to say yes? I don't know.
Sometimes it is that, but because I don't think you really know someone during an interview. Like it's like the first time I make a video for someone is not my best piece of work. It's just not. It's fundamentally not. And if they don't accept that, then I don't know what to say. But it's not. I'm not going down that route. So we'll see. I think I'm going to start considering it. At the moment, I'm still pretty fresh back into the freelance stuff, right? So I think at the moment, like some of the days are just filming. Like I don't have to edit, so it's not like I have an editing problem. It's literally I'm the talent that turns up and does the thing. But there could be a time in which I probably need to start thinking about that for some of my clients. And then the personal fun and games. We went to Wales. Yeah, went to Wales on Thursday, Friday, and came back on Saturday. So it was Laura's birthday on Thursday. She turned 31, which was really nice. We went up to Nana and Gramps for breakfast, and we had opened up some presents, and we had some scrambled eggs on toast, and we all hung out and all had breakfast to celebrate Laura's birthday. Then we drove to Wales, and for those who are keen on motorway service stations, especially if it's your birthday, then the Gloucester services, if you've never been, are incredible.
Top tip from Mr. Greenhorn.
Have you ever been to the Gloucester services, Neil?
I've never been to Gloucester, Gordon, so no.
I can tell you now, they are the best services you've ever been to. It's like services on steroids.
Wow.
Have you ever been to one of them that's got like a lake outside of it and it's all made of wood and it's all really, yeah. It's
there's a chain,
one of them.
There's a chain of them, I think. There's a few of them up and down the motorway.
I'm pretty sure this is either part of the chain or not. I don't know, but this one's exceptional. There's craft beers.
Wow.
From the Cotswolds and all the area surrounding it. You get you can order your meat and all sorts of things, but you also get really nice food, and it was just great. So I thought we'd stop off there, obviously on Laura's 31st birthday. So she was a bit apprehensive, a bit skeptical. Why is my husband taking me here? But then she was like, no, this is the best services I've ever been to. So quite frankly, that was a good win.
Nice.
And then we stayed just outside the Brecon Beacons in a Airbnb near Abergavenny, I think it's called, in an Airbnb, which was really nice. It was like a little bothy, Neil. Do you know what that is?
I do, Gordon. I've stayed in many of them.
Right, so it was a wee bothy with heating and plumbing, so that was quite nice.
Most bothies don't have that.
No, they don't. I'm aware of that. So we stayed in that, and that was really nice. And you got like a Welsh full breakfast with it and everything. And this scenery was stunning, and it was just a great little trip away, to be honest.
Nice.
We did a couple of restaurants. We did a Two Rosette pub thing, which was really nice. Food was exceptional, in fact. Service was a bit crap, but the food was exceptional. And then we went to a tasting menu, which was it was nice, but not like. Problem is, you're kind of spoiled in London.
London,
right?
Yeah. You've got everything on your doorstep.
So it was good, but it wasn't amazing. So that was nice. And then we just came back on Saturday afternoon, picked up Olivia, and then we hung out sort of yesterday, which was Sunday, and just kind of chilled together and whatnot. And then today, got some other big news for the house, Neil. Got some big news for this. Got some new windows, don't I?
Wow.
Got some new windows.
All in a day?
No. They've done the front ones, and then now they're doing the back ones. They've done upstairs front ones, and they're doing the back front bay window tomorrow, and then the back ones. So 2 days, brand new windows. Another thing I've never spent so much money on in my entire life. But
that makes a massive difference though with your heating.
Oh, huge! Well, it's necessary. I mean, first of all, it's going through the roof. Obviously, the cost of heating, but equally, the windows were like 45 years old or something, like really old crap. And then obviously they take the windows out and there's problems.
Obviously,
which is just never ending. So they had to replace some wood bit that they fixed the thing on anyway. But yeah, new windows are in. They'll be finished tomorrow. And then the rest of the week, we've got Thursday, an electrician coming around to do finish some bits in the extension. And then we've got our flooring going down finally on Friday. You know, the floor that wasn't flat?
Yeah.
Well,
Flat now.
It's flattish now. And then we'll wait for the guy to come around and tell us it's not flat enough. So the floors go down on Friday. And that's pretty much those are my wins and woes, I guess we could call that, Neil. That's my week.
Nice. If you're watching on YouTube and I'm like flicking something at my head, there's a fruit fly going around. It's really annoying. So just in case.
Are you scared of flies, Neil? Or are you?
I'm not, but I'd rather not have one in my face.
Oh, okay, that's good then.
And they really like red wine, so there's been a few I've caught that they sit in my wine.
Be all right, Neil. You'll be all right. Anyway, let's reminisce about your stag do, shall we? Right? How old were you when we had your stag do?
Oh, I was 19, I think. 20, no.
You weren't 19.
21, 22.
Didn't you get married when you were 23? How long have you been married? 10 years.
Yeah, so I was 22.
Right. So Neil got married in January, didn't you? Or February? Which one?
February when I was 23. So I've been 22.
So you got married in February. So February, as you can imagine, it's not a very popular destination across Europe, really, is it? Let's be honest. Like February is the worst time to go out on a stag do somewhere if you don't want to be freezing cold or spend tons of money flying off to the Middle East and going jet skiing around the Burj Al Arab, right? So I had to come up with some sort of idea on what can we do when it comes to Neil's stag do. So I kind of shifted it a little bit to earlier in the year. He was you seemed keen, didn't you, Neil, moving it a little bit earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew you wanted to go away somewhere, do it cool. So I decided that we should go to Oktoberfest in September, because you go in September, you don't go in October, obviously. I mean, why would it be called Oktoberfest? What did you think? Because where did you think you were going before? Because you didn't tell you any of this, did I?
Yeah, no, I had no idea. What did I think? Don't know. Like, I think I probably thought it was going to be local, or did I know I was going abroad? This is going back like 9 years, Gordon.
It's a long time, yeah.
Yeah. I can't. I was very nervous. Like, I knew my stag do was going to. Well, I didn't know what it was going to be, but yeah, I remember feeling a lot of anxiety and a lot of nerves towards it. Like the run up to
why?
it.
Why? Because you thought I was going to basically like tie you up and then strap you to a tree and leave you there.
I mean, we hear some pretty brutal stories. Like
you do, but come on now. Like, I know I wound you up a bit about it, but I didn't think you'd thought I would like kind of get you kidnapped by the German mafia and then escorted off to like some rogue country.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one. Very nervous.
Oh,
leading up to
right. A little bit nervous, and I found that trying to plan this thing was not necessarily very easy. I mean, we'll probably go into my stag do at some point when you go through it, but organising blokes is it's just, it's not easy. And I didn't have many of them. I only had like 5 of them or something, or 6 of them to organise. But yeah, trying to organise it all. But then I do remember it not being too difficult, because I think the strategy that I took was, look, lads, we're going here. These are the dates. Are you coming? And I was like, that's it. I've booked the accommodation. All you need to do is basically get yourself there somehow. I don't care how you do it. That's it. That's what's happening. Because sometimes what happens, especially when I listen to like Laura trying to organize a hen do, it's all like, discussing where they should go and then what budgets are there. And there's just lots of like kind of deliberation, when I was just like, I'm not interested in doing that, because it just ends up in just being absolute fat, like people going round in circles. Someone's got to be, it's got autocratic leadership, I think is what you call it. You're just like, look, I don't want to explain it. This is where we're going. This is what we're doing. And the price wasn't going to be too bad because I booked it quite far in advance. And I managed to get us like a hostel that was within walking distance of the whole festival. And it was all 6 beds in the same room. So we're all staying in the same room, which was good and bad for various reasons. And how, by the way, Neil, how, like, because we can not use names.
No,
but we can talk about what happened, right?
Yeah,
we can. Okay, that's good then. Let's get off our chest. And I also didn't really know what I was doing in terms of the whole stag do thing. So I just kind of went off the old pamphlet of, you dress up the stag somehow, you get him extremely drunk, and you just make sure he doesn't kill himself. That's pretty much it, right? And I think I achieved that towards the end of it.
Yeah, no, I think you did. There's a lot of dress up. There's a lot of carnage, and I survived.
You did. Good. Well, you're here to tell the tale. But what did you like? What were you hoping from your stag do? Like, what was your kind of this would be really cool, or what did you want out of it?
Yeah, I think like memories. So I didn't want a stag do where it was just, I don't know, full of naked girls and in Magaluf somewhere. I think that'd be probably, if it was on a scale, that'd be the worst kind of stag do I could imagine. Just not interested in that kind of thing. And yeah, just wanted to have memories with the people around me that I enjoyed spending time with. And interestingly, looking back, like the 6 people that came, do I keep in touch with any of them?
That could be your fault.
It could be. There's probably 1 or 2 I occasionally message, but certainly, yeah.
So you wanted a stag do that created memories, and you were nervous because you thought that I was going to basically just ruin you.
Yeah, and it would just be like a bit of a humiliation, like let's all humiliate Neil.
Okay.
Type situation.
So I'd booked it all. You didn't know where you were going. You still didn't know where you were going the day you were leaving, did you?
No.
Which I feel I did pretty well at that. That was quite good to hide that.
Yeah.
So then what I'd done is I corroborated with Neil's now wife, Rebecca. And what I had ordered was a latex nurse's outfit for Neil to wear to obviously go to the airport, right? I'd also bought a few other knickknacks, which we'll get to when you get to the airport, that somehow you managed to make through the airport without them actually opening it, was it?
Matt,
oh, no, they opened it.
No.
They
got through.
A few other knickknacks to put into his suitcase. And then he had his nails painted, he had a wig and tights and all sorts of bits and pieces. And then you had to get a train from, is it Aberdeen down to Edinburgh, I think it was, for your flight?
Yeah, so like the whole, like the journey down, it was quite early in the morning, like 7, 8 in the morning. All of my friends met in our flat in Aberdeen. We walked to the train station, which is about a 20-minute walk. And I remember like people were starting work. It was like a Wednesday or Thursday night or Thursday morning. People were like commuting to work, and here's me going down Aberdeen in a nurse's outfit. And I got to Aberdeen train station, and I saw 2 work colleagues. I'll never forget. They didn't see me. I just saw them in the distance, and I was like, I need to hide. They can't see me like this.
Yes.
And yeah, I got on the train. It was like 2.5 hour train journey down. And like when we got on the train, we started like opening beers and drinks. Like it felt like a stag do and felt good. But like when I was doing that walk of shame at like 7 in the morning, like.
Were you on your own?
No, I had friends.
Oh, that would have been way better if you were on your own.
I would have got a taxi if I was on my own. But the train, the train was acceptable because you could drink on it, and yeah, people were aware that it was my stag.
Yep, and then you get to the airport, and I'd obviously stuffed Neil's suitcase with various things like KY jelly and all these kind of bits and pieces, but sadly, somehow, and bottles of water and everything were in that suitcase.
Yeah.
And it got through.
Yeah, and there was dildos and yeah.
So as you can tell, I'd kind of fully prepared for all of this. But what I was doing is I was living in London at that time, so I got a separate flight in. And for some weird reason, I'd got a really early flight to get there, and you arrived really late.
Yeah.
So I'd arrived, and I was sat there drinking steins of beer, having checked into the hostel thing that I'd booked, and I was sloshed by the time you arrived. But to be fair, you were probably all pretty drunk, weren't you?
Yeah, like we had a few in the airport and the train, and
yeah. So you get to Oktoberfest. Can you remember how you felt when you found out where you were going? Like, when did you find out in the airport, or? Yeah,
like I can't remember the moment, but definitely in the airport, maybe on the taxi to the airport from the train station. Just excited. Like I mean, didn't really know anything about Oktoberfest, so didn't know what to expect. And now I know because I've obviously been, but yeah, just had zero Germany beer, that kind of thing, but I didn't know what Oktoberfest was.
Didn't you at one point not drink beer?
Yeah, like it was pretty recent. Like I think it was probably after my stag do I started enjoying it, but I didn't really enjoy it before.
Yes, because you were like, I think Rebecca said you didn't drink beer, and I was like, well, it's a beer festival, so we'll have to see what happens. So you get to Oktoberfest, or you get to the hostel and you come in, and the pub that we were in was a bit weird. Or the one that I was sat in,
it was
next
a
to the hostel
nightclub or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it basically went from a pub, and then suddenly I'm sat there drinking, and this guy comes over. You got to stand up. And he moved the table, and it turned into a disco or a nightclub.
Oh, discotheque. That was it.
Yeah, which was very, very weird. And Neil was obviously still in his full maid's outfit, and then everyone else arrived, and we all just started drinking, right? And we're having a good time. And most people shouldn't go too hard on the first day, right, Neil? That's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
But me and Joe, we won't call him Joe. We'll call him Alan. Yeah, because he had other things happen during the stag do, which was kind of a bit weird.
After you mention Alan, it's going to be Joe.
Well, does Joe listen to the podcast?
He does.
Oh, excellent. Well, Joe, you're on the pod. So we arrived. We started drinking, and a couple of you boys went to bed reasonably early, didn't you? I can't remember how early it was, but it
was so like there's definitely people that went. I wouldn't say it was early. It was early hours of the morning. But I was near the end. I was like the number 3, I think.
Right, because me and Alan stayed up really late, and then we ended up coming back. And I think everyone else had already been in bed, so it must have been like 3 or 4 in the morning, or something stupid, to think that we were going to get up nice and early to go to the tents the next day. And so yeah, I think we got back really late, but yeah, the first day was quite heavy in terms of drinking, wasn't it?
It was, and like I remember, it was also my first exposure to Germany and Oktoberfest. But in the pub, in the discotheque thing we were at, I remember there was we were drinking Steins, or maybe smaller versions of Steins, because that was in the actual tents. But I remember like smashing them up and just like the glass just shattering over us. It's just like whoops.
Yeah, there was a proper British kind of like debauchery going on there, where we were just all having a great time and just like clinging them, but they're glass and they went everywhere, and we had some problems, but we didn't get kicked out though, which was quite good.
No, I think we're spending good money. I remember like women coming up to me and be like, "Why are you dressed as a woman?" And they didn't quite understand.
Yeah, the Germans weren't hot on the whole humiliation stag do thing, were they?
No, that was new to them, I think.
Yeah. And just on that note, so we do our first day, we get over that, Neil gets to come out of his outfit, and we're all in the hostel together. And basically, with Oktoberfest, if anyone's listening who's never been, it's fantastic. You should absolutely go. It's great fun. You get dressed up. There's music, there's food, there's beer, all that kind of thing. It's a real really, really fun thing to do. But what we wanted for Neil every single day of that Oktoberfest was some sort of outfit. So his first day was this latex nurse's outfit. And then the next day, we wanted to also get up nice and early to get to the tent so we could get a seat, because that was something you should do. So we got there nice and early, get up nice and early and get and do it. We're all a bit hanging, but you just get on with it, right? And Neil's next outfit.
But before we get into the outfit, do you remember what we ate every day for breakfast?
Oh, McDonald's.
McDonald's, yeah.
There was literally McDonald's around the corner. Like I'd planned it all, Neil, obviously, right? Where we got a cheap hostel, we all stayed in the same room, and then we had the McDonald's breakfast around the corner. But that was good though, right? That was pretty much all you needed.
Yeah.
It wasn't about eating fancy meals, going out and dinner, because we did go out one afternoon. We did go out for some food, which was not unreasonable. But anyway, Neil's second day outfit was, I'd told every bloke in the party to spend £5 on an item of Neil's clothing. So as you can imagine, it came from, he had a hat, he had leggings, I think he had a skirt, did you have to wear? You had a crop top, and you had a handbag, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure someone bought you shoes, but I don't think they fit.
No, I couldn't get them on, so I just wore trainers.
Yeah. So Neil's got a kind of like a haberdasher looking, put together outfit, and yeah, we head off to the tents. And I think the first one we found, we basically just went in and got a seat, didn't we?
I think it's a tactic, but I think they're obviously designed to make money. So if you go with a big group of lads who are probably going to spend a fortune and stay there most of the day, then you're going to get let in and get a decent seat, I think, is how it works.
Yeah, we walked straight in, and the guy was kicking people off tables because they weren't drinking. So
yeah.
You sit down, and the tents are huge, aren't they? There's like 4,000 or 5,000 people in these massive, huge tents.
I found out 10,000 in each tent.
10,000. Wow. Yeah, so these tents are absolutely enormous.
Yeah.
And the beer, they've got these massive beer kegs and there's bands in them and you can drink beer, eat food. It's a really, really fun thing to do. You just sit and drink and have fun. And yeah, it started off all right, didn't it? We just ordered a round of drinks and it was €10 a stein and we just
Which
started
is good
cracking on.
Easy maths. And it's like 2 pints. So it's like €5 a pint. So in terms of money, it's not that expensive.
But bearing in mind that was some 9 years ago.
You're probably like €20 a stein now.
Yeah, at least. So we start drinking, and I faced my first problem of this stag do, Neil. Do you remember this bit? I'll tell the story, but do you remember what happened?
You went to the toilet.
Yeah, so we've had a few. Maybe had 2 or 3 steins by this time, so we've got a wee head in us.
It's like 6 pints.
We're having a good time, and I felt like I needed to be sick, and I couldn't believe it. I was devastated with myself because I'm the best man. I've got to sort myself. I've got to pull myself together, man. I've got to look after my brother. I'm not the one he needs to look after. I need to look after him. So I just went to the bathroom and had a tactical chunder. And it worked a treat though. Came back, I was on fire.
Yeah, it did. It was good.
Yeah, and then one of the stags, we'll call him Steve. He started sitting next to this couple. Do you remember that?
The older couple.
The older couple, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's this thing called snuff. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It's like sniffing tobacco. Now, you don't really get sniffing tobacco in the UK, do you?
No, it was definitely a German thing.
And he sat there like doing this sniffing tobacco, and this woman who's in like her 50s is just having a great time with him. And Steve is he's all over the place.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I remember that actually. Remember that. And do you remember the yodeler?
I do not remember the yodeler. What happened there?
No. I'm sure I've got some GoPro footage somewhere. I need to look it out and make it like a YouTube video for us. But yeah, there was a professional yodeler that was also drunk sitting near us, and he won some awards in Germany for his yodeling, and he was giving us some yodels.
Wow! So I'd not only organised, a McDonald's nearby, a nice 6-bed dorm to stay, a discotheque for the night before, but I'd also managed to organise us a professional yodeler next door.
Yeah, I can't really remember that, but yeah.
Let's say we're halfway through this stag do, Neil, and you had all this anxiety and apprehension, and you didn't know what was going to happen. After you'd had a good skinful of beer, 2 days in a row, how do you think it was going at this point?
Oh yeah, living my best life. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, very great. That's all you've got to say about it.
Fond memories. And it's definitely, I've said this to a few people that went, like, I definitely want to go back. I definitely want to experience Oktoberfest again. But yeah, I think by day 2 or day 1.5, I was feeling good.
All the anxiety had gone.
The highlight was the next day though.
Okay, right? So we get through this one. I'm trying to think, what did we do after the first day? Because obviously we spent most of the time in that tent till maybe late afternoon. Because I think what happened was we went back and had a nap.
Yeah, and then went back out again.
Yeah, and then we went back out again, and we went and had some food somewhere, and kind of were a bit less debaucherous.
Yeah, that was right. Because we didn't go back to the tents. We just went into Munich.
Yeah, because we sat there drinking for about 5-6 hours or something, and then we went into Munich, and we went for a beer hall thing and had some food, and we just had a bit more civilized, I think it was. Yeah.
And then day 3 it went up another notch.
Day 3 did go up another notch, and day 3 on a stag do is where you see who is a professional drinker and who isn't.
You do, yeah. I'm just trying to think of the evening shenanigans. Like there was.
You want to mention what Alan did?
Yeah, I guess he would.
Well, Alan, but Alan didn't go to the bathroom in the bathroom. Alan decided to wake up in the middle of the night and urinate all over Gary's luggage, didn't he?
It was just, I remember waking up thinking it was raining outside. It was just
yeah, but I just remember waking up because Gary just started shouting, "No, Alan, no!" And I'm just like, what's going on? And then it's just kind of like, I think Gary then used Alan's duvet to clean it up.
No, someone, I can't remember who it was, but someone took a shit in the toilets and didn't have a toilet roll. So I had to use his bed sheets. That might be Gary. I think that was Gary.
That was day 2 as well. Goodness me. Gary and Alan, what a day they were having.
Imagine someone pissing all over your suitcase.
Yeah. I don't know if he got it on his clothes or not, but I think it was just on the suitcase because he might have taken his clothes out.
Yeah.
Which was a stroke of genius, quite frankly. He was anticipating Alan not being able to use the bathroom.
Oh dear. Yes, that was evening of day 2, and then day 3. That was a highlight.
Day 3. So what I'd heard on the grapevine is there's a certain tent that's supposed to be very, very good at Oktoberfest. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but I was desperate to try and find it and go to it because that's where all the fun and games was at.
I think the tents are like the local breweries, aren't they? They're named after the
localish breweries. Yeah, they're big German brewers, or certainly in Bavaria where it's sort of held. So I knew I wanted to go to that, so we were going to get up early and go there. That's where we had our food and whatnot, and then, anyway, we get to the third day, and we'd planned the third outfit for Neil, and this was the least bad one, wasn't it, Neil? This was actually a really, really good one.
This is the highlight one.
Yeah, this is the highlight. So do you want to explain to people what we got you?
Yeah, so we basically all kitted out in the kilts, which, if you're not from Scotland, you might be listening in Australia. Kilt is a very traditional Scottish outfit. Kind of like a skirt, but a lot longer than a skirt. And yeah, so all 6 lads got into kilts, white t-shirts, and we had hats with like ginger hair, I think, maybe, did we?
Jimmy hats, yeah.
And we're like, I remember walking even just before we got into Oktoberfest through the gates, like walking down the street. It was like local celebrities. Like, everybody wanted photos. Everybody wanted to see what we were doing, why we were dressed in kilts. And yeah, it was awesome. And that continued the whole day. Like, just lots of attention, lots of... Yeah, it was great.
Because I remember walking into the tent, everyone just sort of stopped and looked at us.
Yeah.
As if to say what was going on. Yeah, did you say these were beer kilts, Neil?
No.
Yeah, so these were like, there's 2 different types of kilts you get. One is a very expensive one that you'd wear to your wedding.
Okay, yeah.
And it looks really, really nice. So it's handmade wool in Scotland and yada, yada. But these were like 40 quid or something from like made of cotton. Like some factory in China has probably made them. But they're like the same thing. But it means that, you're not spending £1,000 on a kilt and then basically just covering it in beer and everything else that goes along with wearing a kilt.
Yeah.
So yeah, we wore those, and that wasn't my idea. I don't think it might have been Joe's idea, Alan's idea. So Alan's idea. So hats off to him because it was great because we all matched and it was all fun and it was a good stag do thing to do. But yeah, we went to this other tent and this time we didn't get a seat though, did we? We had to stand. Yeah,
we had a standing table, which it ended up being really fun. Oh, we need to rewind. Like, remember the thing? I've got a video of it, and like there's a tradition in Oktoberfest where if you stand on the table, you need to down your stein.
But that's what I was going to get to.
But there's a few of us that did it in the second day.
Did you? Oh, right, okay. Right. Yeah, because I decided to do that at the on that day. And yeah, basically people, every so often, you'll just have someone stand up on the table and down their 1 litre beer.
And 10,000 people like cheering you on.
Yeah, and it's something else. It was quite fun, but I don't think I was very good at it because I think I spilt most of it down my front, rather than actually drinking it. But yeah, it's quite a fun atmosphere, and it was definitely busier. I felt like it was probably a Saturday or something stupid like that.
Yeah,
but that second day was really good fun, but then it got pretty drunk pretty quick though, didn't it?
Yeah, I remember like, I don't know, just after lunchtime, I think we tried to get some food or maybe not quite managed. And also there was some rule that you could be 16 and get into Oktoberfest. So there was like, I remember seeing 16-year-old girls going around, which is bizarre. Anyway.
Interesting. You noticed that, Neil? Were you and Alan up to something?
But there was a 16-year-old girl standing up downing a stein, which I thought was just
that's
bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got to the third day in the afternoon, and I think like we started losing each other, and it just became a bit carnage. Like my memory is a bit vivid, but we got chucked out, I think.
Yeah, we got. I don't know why we got chucked out, but maybe we were just being a bit rowdy, and it wasn't good. So I remember getting chucked out, and then one of the stags, we'll call him Steve again. I remember walking out of the tent, and he was on his back, starfished on a mound, just absolutely passed out. Like this was now where it really was the difference between people that could handle the drink and people that couldn't handle the drink. And I'm not saying that I wasn't, borderline paralytic, but at the same time, he was paralytic. Now, I'd made a mistake, hadn't I, Neil? Right? I'd given Steve my phone because he had pockets.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any pockets. And it turned out Steve lost my phone. And fast forwarding, granted, he did buy me another one, which was absolutely fine. But yeah, he lost my phone, so he was starfished. And we started breaking up a bit, and there was only maybe like 2 or 3 of us hanging out. I think I was with you. I think we were with someone else. Maybe Gary had joined us, and we were in another tent trying to find somewhere to drink and do. But then we couldn't sit down. Then we were like, we're too drunk, so we went back to the hostel, didn't we?
Yeah, and then I think we just crashed. I mean, you've got to remember, we started drinking at about 9:30, 10 in the morning. So this would have been...
Oh, it was early, yeah. Like we were up a good 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and then we were in the tents by 9.
Yeah. So yeah,
they're rammed, by the way. There's 10,000 people in these tents at 9 a.m.
And how many tents was there? Like 5, 6 tents?
There's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people go to it.
Mad. And yeah, so I think the third day we just went back to the hostel and just crashed. Like, I can't remember much. I remember being with Joe on the third day, like just me and him for a period of time, and like bumping into these random people getting food. But I can't remember much else.
The third day was pretty strong in terms of the drunken behaviour. It was pretty bad. Like it's not the drunken behaviour our mum would be very proud of.
No, and like when we woke up on day 4, I remember Steve. I forgot who we're calling Steve, but Steve lost his passport. And
Steve did lose his passport, didn't he?
He was freaking out because he was like, and I remember looking up like embassy numbers and like how far the embassy is, and is he going to fly home? And
and I think we got to. Did he find it eventually?
Yeah, eventually he found it.
Yeah, he lost phones, he lost passports, he lost lots of things, and yeah, I think at that stage I was just like, I'm going home. So I don't, Steve, you can work out your life, or you're staying at Oktoberfest forever.
Yeah. But
the thing was though, like at no stage did we do any sort of the traditional stag do things. Like we didn't get your stripper, we didn't go to strippers. There was nothing more than just drunken behavior, hanging out with your mates, taking pictures, making memories, just doing stuff. And this was sort of before phones really had cameras on them, wasn't it?
No, they definitely had cameras, but I think it was definitely pre-Instagram stories and Facebook and.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Facebook was a thing, but yeah, there's no kind of stories that you never really documented day to day what you're doing, which I kind of miss. Like, I don't know, life's we can go down that rabbit hole.
Sometimes there's some things just to be left either unsaid, Neil, or undocumented.
Yeah, and I think
or at least you're able to tell the story with a sober mind and some distant memory of it.
Well, that's the thing.
Rather than the moment where you've got your trousers by your ankles and you can't really stand up very well, or you're thrown up over a bench and someone's taken a picture or recorded it.
Yeah, and like, I guess there's something to be said because there's a lot of stag do's that probably go unstory told and like there's no document of them. But now we've got this podcast and our grandkids and our great grandkids.
But this gives us a choice to document it rather than your mate who does a story and puts it up and then I don't know, someone at work sees it and then gets fired.
Yeah, you're right.
But so we get to the end of this stag do, Neil. We eventually all get home. We're all a bit, we're all hungover, whatever else. Did the stag do meet some expectations or hopes, at least? Not necessarily your expectations of you getting all sorts of things done to you. But do you think it was a stag do to remember? Is my question basically.
Without a doubt. Definitely look back fond memories. Still talk about it to this day. Like people are like, oh, what did you do for your stag do? In terms of like what I thought I was going to get versus what I got, probably tenfold better. So I assumed it would be someone like Magaluf or something like, I don't know, Glasgow strippers or something weird like that.
Oh, Glasgow strippers. Oh.
But yeah, it was just a great time, and I've always said to a few people that came to the stag do, like, I want to do it again, because Oktoberfest, even if it's not a stag do, it's such a good environment, such a cool, like 10,000 people in a tent, like decent beer, like for starters, and you've got everyone just having a good time.
Yeah, and this time we could probably do it in some luxury, I think, rather than a hostel.
Yeah, like hotel for a couple of nights, and yeah, it's definitely on the bucket list again.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, go on, Neil.
I was going to say the next year I was gutted because the year after, Arnold Schwarzenegger made an appearance in a tent, and like got up on stage and like did something.
Of course he did. I don't know if we should give some ideas on stag do's. If anyone's listening to this, they're a dad and they're going to get married or whatever else. But I felt like I didn't have a plan, or I didn't really sort of set out in a plan in terms of the day's itinerary had to look like this, and this, right? We had to get somewhere, do something. For me, I tried to just leave it, we go somewhere, we do the thing, and that's what you're doing. Rather than it being, oh, you've got your activity at 10 a.m. and then you have another activity at 12 in the afternoon. I know that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, or not the easiest to just not do anything, but I felt like Oktoberfest was just so easy, right? You just turn up, you drink beer, you eat food, and you have a good time listening to music, and that's basically what you do, right? And I found that that's much easier to organise a group of lads and price it up and do everything than necessarily having a bunch of like random activities to do, right?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think, was it free to get into Oktoberfest? I've no idea.
Yeah, pretty sure it was, yeah.
Yeah, and you just pay for the beer and the food.
Yep.
So yeah, like for a cost effective, not much planning needed. It's definitely, if you're a best man planning a stag do, then I'd highly recommend Oktoberfest. But I have heard that, and this was a few years ago now, but Germany or Munich had pretty bad terrorist attacks, so they've upped the security in Oktoberfest now. So it's like not airport style, but festival style security, and the bags get searched and less people in tents, and it's a bit more rigid.
To be fair, it doesn't surprise me because like it was carnage.
Yeah, like that many people, 10,000 people in each tent. The tents got
hammered.
Full. Like by midday, you couldn't get in a tent. Like,
you're queuing easily.
Yeah. So
wild. So yeah, I think that's that's your stag do, right? And did you get home though? This is a good question actually. When you got home, what was the first thing Rebecca asked you?
Oh my, it's so long ago. I've no idea. I don't think she was that. I can't remember checking in with, like, that's another thing. We always had mobile phones and like smartphones and stuff. That wasn't that long ago. But I don't remember ever messaging.
Pretty sure we took it off. I'm pretty sure we took it off you.
Yeah, you might have, because I don't remember having a phone or anything like that.
No, because I sent Rebecca messages. I remember just saying he's fine.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, she was totally cool. I can't remember how, like, if she picked us up from Aberdeen Airport or how that worked. Can't remember getting home, but yeah, I mean, all good. In terms of, I don't know if we're going to bring this up, probably next time, but I had a second stag do in Aberdeen.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, I organised a second stag do for you. Did I organise it or did someone else organise it?
I can't remember, but I really wanted, because I knew I was a student at the time, or just out of student life, and I had a lot of friends that I wanted to come, but I knew that A, couldn't afford it, or B, couldn't get time off work or something. So I had a stag do where people that wanted to come, they could afford it, they could come, and Oktoberfest was that stag do. Then I had an Aberdeen one, which was just like local, and yeah, the same guy. I can't remember what we're calling him. Alan.
Alan, was, that's it. Yeah.
He got into a fight.
Oh.
That's all I remember.
Oh, that was because, so we went for food, didn't we? We had some beers. Like our dad came, your father-in-law came. There was like brothers were there, and
a bit more civilized.
A bit more, yeah. But then I managed to wangle us a table, didn't I? In that club.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But
so we got a table. I don't think you'd ever had a bottle service table in a club, had you, up to that point?
No.
So at one stage, Neil had if anyone's got a club and got a table, you get bottles and sparklers come out the top of them. Well, at one stage, Neil had it in his mouth and he was walking around the dance floor.
That's right.
with the bottle of vodka and help giving people like drinks from it. Yeah. So I remember that bit. And then when we were walking home with Alan, for some reason he got into a fight, and then you and Alan left, and I was left with the guy and the police.
The police came.
I had to ask them, like, am I under arrest? And they were like, no, we're just investigating something. And I was like, well, I'm not under arrest, so I'm leaving. And they were like, no, you can just wait there. And I'm like, but I'm not under arrest. And they were like, no, just wait there. I just wanted to leave. And then I do remember the next day, I think it was Knox we're in. I think that's the club in Aberdeen.
Knox. Yeah.
And anyway, I'm scrolling through Facebook or whatever else, and Knox's images from like the night before come up, right?
That was a thing, club photographers.
Yeah, so that pops up. And then the guy that Joe was like having an argument with, I tagged Joe as that guy. Alan.
I remember that. Yeah, the club photos.
But the second stag do was good. I kind of liked it because it was a bit like it was more of like a local family affair, with some level of drunken debauchery, but it was kind of like everybody could come, right? Because that's the difficulty of stag do's to some extent. They become they're very kind of events-driven, holiday-based type things now, rather than it just being like, you just go down to the pub with a few mates the night before the wedding and have a few drinks, right? That's it. Now it's like, going off to all sorts of different kind of locations and having fun, and it's great, but then not everyone can go, right? So it's whether you balance the idea of going somewhere versus what kind of people you have there, right?
Yeah. So
and that gives an excuse to have two, right?
Yeah. I think you lived in London at the time, so I think you probably flew up. But there's I remember there's 15 or 20 of us at the second stag do. Seemed like quite a lot.
Yes. Yeah. It was a big one. It was good. I enjoyed it. And it was like, it's Aberdeen-based prices for bottles of vodka, so it was like 50 quid, which,
Instead of 200.
Yeah, and some, times about 10, I think. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great fun. First one I'd ever organised. And I'd do it again if you get married again, Neil, so just let me know.
Well, Oktoberfest definitely needs to be on the cards sometime.
At some point. Maybe our 40th.
Yeah.
That'd be quite fun. That'd be our next trip, right? You can take me to Oktoberfest since I took you to Dubai. How about
that? One day. Anyway, on that note, that was a good podcast. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, good reminiscing over us not going to strippers on a stag do, I think is one of the points. And then Alan was partly the entertainment for the stag do itself, because he just got into all sorts of different kind of things.
Yeah. There's probably stuff we've missed or forgotten about, but I definitely...
No doubt.
I had a GoPro with us. No, it wasn't a GoPro, it was a flip camera. Remember that flip camera thing?
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea where the footage is going to be, but yeah, I need to look it out.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is episode number 43, Neil's Stag Do of the Developing Dads podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. We are, as always, across pretty much every podcasting platform, and if you're listening to this, you're listening on some podcast. But... podcasting platform. But anyway, you can also check out this episode and our lovely faces on YouTube. I might have to bleep out Alan's real name, but I might even just leave it in for the pants.
Just leave it in.
We're also on Instagram, Developing Dads. You can follow us on there. Neil never actually follows through and posts any reels, but you might one day pop up on there at some point. Who knows? But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you do, rate us on our podcasting platform, would be great. We do actually read them. Not that anyone actually does it, because we've got 4.5 listeners now. I had someone messaging me today about the fact that they tune into the podcast every week. So,
well, I've got a guy that's followed me on Instagram, an expat, a dad. He's from UK, living in Hong Kong. So shout out to him if he's listening.
Yeah, and we've almost hit 2,500 downloads, Neil.
Wow. Do you think reckon we'll hit 3,000 before year end?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I think so. I mean, we're doing we're averaging about 50 listens, or 55 listens a pod. So, we've got 9 left until the end of the year, until our year is pretty much done. So we might get close to it. Yeah. Well, we'll see if we get 3,000. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, either way, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll hear you, listen to you, tune in to the next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.